I wanted to do a short video to show you the versatility inside of Photoshop to make a box or an area to type in that's very unconventional. So we can fill this space. I just took an image that I had. This was taken many years ago, and it actually was a daytime photograph, and I used Photoshop's trickery to change it into a evening time photograph. But anyway, I chopped off this part of the photograph so we could, if we wanted to, we could bring the type all the way to the edge of this church. So I would start this out by just making a regular rectangular marquee selection, and we could say we want to start typing in an area. Need to have the right tool. So turn on the rectangular marquee tool, and we'll just say we want to come in here about like this, and that's probably as close right up here at the top as we'd want to get with text. And obviously we don't want to type into the church area, so we can use any kind of combination of tools we want to take away from this selection area. Because if right now, if we turn this into a text box, we would type right along the edge of this line here. So let's just use the perpendicular or polygonal lasso tool, that is. And I can go right here holding down my Alt key, Option key on a Macintosh, and just kind of parallel the church using the same, basically the same amount of space that I did at the top. We can go a little bit more here. And let's just say we go down like this. Didn't get it perfectly straight, but that's okay. And back over to here, and that will subtract all of the marquee selection that's inside the church itself. And we can get rid of this too. We can use any kind of a combination of these tools to take away from this area. So we could just kind of cut that off right there. And so it would stair step down this way. Now to type in this area, obviously we need to do something, you can't just type in any selection area per se. But if you go to Window, and we go down to Paths, we get something that looks like this. And to turn this into a path itself, which a type path would be appropriate, you would click on this icon right here, which turns it into a regular work path, and you'll see the shape of that in this little window. So now we can just turn on the type tool and start typing, and notice that there's a circle around the cursor. We can start typing right inside there, and of course it gives us this lorem ipsum filler to show you what the text is going to look like. But you notice it comes right up to the edge of this and stops. So if we copy that over and over, let's just do a Control Alt and Control C and Control V to paste it in again. It does the same thing all the way down. Now as you make the text smaller or larger, obviously that's going to change. So we could go in here and make it, let's say 4 points. Hit enter, and you can see it's following it a little bit closer. Let's go in here and do like a 4.5, not a 4.4. And we can go over here, and we've got a lot of room in between each line. We don't have to have that. So if we select it, we can go here to this drop down and change how much space there is between each one of these lines. So we've got a 4.5 there. We can either change that to automatic, or we can put an exact number in there if we wish to. We could put 6, we could put 5, and if to go smaller than 6, we'd have to just type it in and hit enter. And then I could go ahead and do a copy of all that, Control C and Control V. And again, it stayed right along that edge, will not go over it. So I don't care if you have a tree in the woods and you want to type up to the edge of the tree. All you have to do is maintain a certain amount of distance, and you can type around anything at all. So right here I've created just a globe-like effect, a sphere if you will, and we're going to do the same thing. I don't want to type into the edge of this sphere, so I'm going to use the rectangular marquee tool again, and we'll just type or drag it out to be something like this. And now I don't want this being in there, so I can use the elliptical marquee tool and hold down the Alt. Alt subtracts from the selection. Holding down the Shift will add to the selection. So we can drag out something like this until we get the kind of spacing on there that we want. And let's bring it up a little closer this time. So there we've got a selection that's away from the sphere, and we can type into that. So again, go up to Window, down to Paths, click on this, and we turn that into a path. Click on the Type tool or press the letter T and click, and it does the lorem ipsum again. And so we can just do a Control C, Control V to fill that. And if we want to get rid of the path, we can come over here and select that path, click it. Yes, we want to get rid of it. And you see how nice a job it did going around this sphere. So it's nice if you've got want to create something that you want the type to run up against, but not into the area. It's a very flexible way of doing things. Instead of making your own clipping path, or sorry, not a clipping path, but your own path selection, this will do the trick for you. So you can use the pen tool to make that kind of a path, but then you've got to make, you've got to be a little bit particular using the pen tool. This just saves you a lot of time. All right, I hope you find this of some interest and some use. It shouldn't be too difficult, but you know what? If you run into anything, you can just post it here and I'll come in and address it for you. Thanks and have a great day. Bye-bye. This particular still photograph of Lincoln, I've just got a blank canvas here, so to speak. But as we move down, you'll see we've got a regular marquee selection that I just clicked and dragged this out using the rectangular marquee. And then I went in and used the tools to subtract from that selection. So I didn't type through President Lincoln's head and shoulders. And then around the shoulder area, I used the lasso tool right here to further take away from the marching ants that are here around the shoulders. So I used the lasso here. I used the lasso over here, and I kind of fine-tuned a little bit, got too far over here, and brought it back in some more. And little fine-tuning there to get it. And this does not have to be a perfect line. When you're using the lasso tool, you can get a little bit rough with it. It's not going to hurt. So if I try to take away from the selection and I just go like that, when you type it and make this into a path, I should say make it into a path and then type, it doesn't care if this is a nice smooth line. Now, if you get crazy and go and do something like that, of course, it's going to have problems with that. But I did a Control Z there to undo that. Control Z as in zebra. And so I could smooth this off if I wanted to. I could take more away from it. I'm holding down the Alt key and going down there. So that actually adds to it because this is already a selected area. So if I hold down the Shift key, then we bring it back in. So I can do the same thing over here. I can bring it closer to his head if I want to. It's totally up to us how close we want to get. We can bring it in closer to the chin and so forth. So these little jaggies are not going to show up in your text, your final outcome. So if you start typing, everything's going to be just fine. So I'll just go ahead and turn this into a path. And I got my little paths tab right over here with my layers and so forth. Or you go to Window and down to Paths. And anyway, I'm going to click on this 4-point, like a baseball diamond shape here, and turn that into a path. So now I can start typing. So click on the T, and here we go. So it fills it with the lorem ipsum thing. I'm just going to type in now so you can see how this really does wrap. It doesn't show you that with the lorem ipsum so much. So now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. Period. Now you see how it bounced. It goes over here. Now is the time for all good men to, instead of going on down here, it jumps over here, staying in line, and then back over here, of their country. Okay? Yeah, hopefully we're on the same page there. So I can just keep typing on down until it fills out the entire area. Now it's going to get a little crazy when it gets down here. Probably we're not going to have a word small enough, a, of, something like that in that area, but hopefully you get the idea. So now we can go over here and we can click on the work path, trash it, because we don't really need that anymore. Click yes. And so now the words all become part of the image. So we can really make some neat text around people's bodies, around people's heads, or up against a glass bottle, champagne glass, whatever it is we want to type next to or around. The sky's the limit, so to speak, on something like that. Now this really does wrap up this video. Okay, bye.